When someone pulls away, when they create space or silence between you and themselves, it can be tempting to take it personally. To feel as though you've done something wrong, as though their withdrawal is a direct reflection of your worth. But pause for a moment and consider this. What if it has nothing to do with you at all? What if their actions are a symptom of their inner world rather than a statement about who you are? You see, relationships, whether they're friendships, partnerships, or family ties, are not static. They ebb and flow just like the tides. And when someone distances themselves, it's often a sign of a shift in energy, an adjustment within the unseen dynamics of the connection. Perhaps they're navigating something difficult, an internal storm you cannot see. Or maybe they've reached a crossroads in their journey, a moment when they need to step back and reassess their direction. In these moments, it's important to resist the urge to react impulsively. The mind may spin stories trying to make sense of the distance. What did I do wrong? Why are they pulling away? But these are the wrong questions. Instead, ask yourself, what is this moment trying to teach me? There's wisdom in the space between people, even when it feels uncomfortable or uncertain. Recognizing an energetic shift is not about assigning blame or finding fault. It's about observing without judgment. The truth is, every person you encounter carries their own universe, within them a complex web of emotions, memories, and experiences. Their actions are a reflection of that inner world, not a mirror of your value. When they step back, it's often because they need to attend to something within themselves, not because you've done anything to push them away. This is where perspective becomes your greatest ally. Instead of fixating on the apparent rejection, shift your focus. See their distance as a signal, not a wound. A signal that perhaps they need time, or that the connection itself is evolving. And evolution is not something to resist. It's something to embrace. Just as you grow and change, so do the people around you. Relationships, then, must adapt to keep pace with that growth. But let's be honest, it's not easy. The human heart craves connection, validation, and reassurance. When someone we care about withdraws, it can feel like a void opening up. Yet within that void lies an opportunity to practice patience, to deepen your understanding of yourself and others, and to cultivate compassion for the complexity of human relationships. The energy shift that distance represents is not inherently negative. It's simply a signal that something is in motion. Imagine standing on a beach, watching the tide recede. You could focus on the water pulling away, or you could notice the treasures it leaves behind the shells, the polished stones, the new patterns etched in the sand. Similarly, when someone steps back from you, it's an invitation to discover the treasures within yourself, to find strength, clarity, and resilience in your own company. So how do you navigate these moments? Start by breathing deeply and releasing the need for immediate answers. Trust that clarity will come in its own time. Let go of the stories your mind tries to tell you, the ones that whisper of inadequacy or rejection. Instead, anchor yourself in the knowledge that you are whole and complete, regardless of who steps closer or farther away. Remember, an energetic shift is not a verdict. It's a natural rhythm in the dance of life. Allow it to unfold. Give others the space they need, and in doing so, grant yourself the freedom to grow. There is no need to chase, to cling, or to demand explanations. Simply stand rooted in your own truth, knowing that what is meant to stay will find its way back, and what isn't will create room for something new. In the end, the distance is not an end, but a beginning, a moment of transformation for all involved. And in embracing that transformation, you become stronger, more compassionate, and more attuned to the beauty of the human Frage experience. The next time someone pulls away, don't see it as a loss. See it as a shift and opening a lesson. Because even in the silence, even in the space, there is connection. And in connection, there is always the potential for growth. When someone creates distance, it's natural for us to feel a pull and instinct to close that gap, to mend whatever we believe has been torn. But here's the paradox in chasing after someone who steps away. We often widen the distance rather than bridge it. It's not because they don't care or because you've done something wrong, but because the very act of chasing carries a subtle message of desperation, a message that says, I need you to validate me. Let's pause for a moment and reflect on this. What happens when you grasp sand tightly in your fist? The harder you hold on, the more it slips through your fingers. Relationships, connections, and even love operate on the same principle. The more you try to force someone to stay, to explain, or to come closer, the more they feel the need to retreat. Not out of malice, but because the energy of chasing creates imbalance. And imbalance is uncomfortable for both parties. So, what should you do when someone distances themselves? The answer might surprise you: do nothing. Not in the sense of apathy or indifference, but in the sense of releasing control. Allow the space to exist. Let the distance breathe. In doing so, you communicate something profound, that your sense of self is not tied to another's actions. You honor the other person's need for space while also honoring your own strength and autonomy. This isn't about playing games or pretending to care less than you do. It's about understanding that true connection cannot be coerced or demanded. It flourishes in freedom. When you give someone the room to step back, you're also giving them the opportunity to choose to step forward again. And when that choice comes freely, it's far more meaningful than anything born from obligation or pressure. Letting go in this way doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you recognize that love, respect, and connection must flow naturally. Imagine a bird perched on your hand. If you hold your hand steady and open, the bird may stay. But if you close your fingers around it, even gently, it will struggle to escape. People are much the same. The freedom to move, to reflect, and to return of their own accord is a gift you can give to those you care about. But here's where the deeper lesson lies. When you stop chasing others, you begin to discover parts of yourself that were hidden beneath the surface. You learn that your worth isn't dependent on who chooses to stay or leave. You start to realize that the space someone leaves behind isn't just emptiness, it's a canvas for your own growth, creativity, and self-discovery. In fact, the act of not chasing teaches you patience. It teaches you trust not just in others, but in the natural flow of life. It's a lesson in surrender, not as a form of defeat, but as an act of faith in the idea that things unfold as they're meant to. When you stop trying to control outcomes, you open yourself up to possibilities you may never have considered. The person who distanced themselves may return, or they may not. Either way, you're left standing stronger, more grounded, and more attuned to your own needs and desires. This isn't easy. The urge to reach out, to demand answers, to fill the silence can feel overwhelming. But within that silence lies clarity if you allow yourself to sit with it. You begin to see the dynamics of the relationship more clearly. You notice whether it was balanced or one-sided, whether it brought you joy or drained your energy. Sometimes the space that others create isn't just for them, it's for you too. It's for you too. A space to step back and ask yourself if the connection was truly serving you, or if you were holding onto it out of habit, fear, or insecurity. And so, when someone distances themselves, resist the urge to run after them. Instead, turn inward. Use the space to reconnect with yourself, to nurture your passions, and to build a life so rich and fulfilling that you don't need anyone to complete it. This doesn't mean shutting people out or becoming self-absorbed. It means creating a foundation of inner strength that allows you to engage with others from a place of wholeness rather than need. When you approach relationships from this place of wholeness, something beautiful happens. The energy shifts. Instead of chasing, you attract. Instead of clinging, you inspire trust and mutual respect. And those who are meant to be in your life will find their way to you not because you chased them, but because you became someone worth standing beside. In the end, it's not about holding on or letting go. It's about finding balance, about allowing the ebb and flow of connection to unfold naturally. Because the relationships that truly matter will never need to be forced. They will simply find their rhythm, their flow, and their place in your life. And when they do, they'll feel far more authentic, far more real than anything you could have chased down. When someone ignores you, it can feel like a hollow ache, as though the very essence of who you are has been dismissed. That kind of silence can be deafening, can't it? We're social creatures at heart, and much of our identity is reflected back to us through our connections with others. So when someone we care about pulls away or pretends we're not there, it stirs something deep, a primal fear of being unseen, unheard, unacknowledged. But what if that pain, as uncomfortable as it may be, is not meant to harm you? What if it's meant to wake you up? Pain has a curious way of illuminating truths we might otherwise overlook. It's like a spotlight shining on areas of our lives where we've placed too much weight, too much importance on something external, whether it's someone else's approval, their attention, or their validation. The hurt of being ignored isn't just about their actions, it's about the story we tell ourselves in response. I'm not enough, we think. I must have done something wrong. But pause here for a moment. Take a step back. Is that story true? Or is it just a habit of thought, a conditioned response to fill the void left by their absence? You see, the pain of being ignored is an invitation, a chance to confront these narratives and dismantle the ones that no longer serve you. It's a call to redirect your focus inward, to look for what you're seeking in the only place it truly resides, within yourself. Think of the times you've sought someone's attention or approval. What were you really looking for? Was it their praise, or was it the feeling that you were valued, significant, whole? And here's the twist: you already are all those things. Their recognition doesn't create your worth, it merely mirrors what's already there. But when you forget this, you hand over your power, tying your sense of self to someone else's actions or inactions. When someone ignores you, it's as if the universe is nudging you. Whispering, come back to yourself. It's asking you to reclaim the energy you've poured into seeking validation elsewhere and redirect it toward nurturing your own sense of worth. And let me tell you, that's no small thing. It's a revolutionary act. This isn't to say you should harden yourself, shutting others out or pretending you don't care. No, that would be trading one kind of imbalance for another. Instead, it's about finding equilibrium, staying open and compassionate, while also recognizing that your value isn't contingent on how others respond to you. When you can hold both of these truths, you become unshakable. And here's the beauty of it: when you stop seeking attention from others, you become the kind of person who naturally draws others in. Not because you're trying to, but because people are naturally drawn to those who carry themselves with quiet confidence and self-assuredness. There's a magnetism in someone who doesn't need validation but welcomes it when it comes. That's the kind of presence you're building when you use these moments of pain as opportunities for growth. So the next time someone ignores you, try this instead of reacting outwardly, sending another message, trying to grab their attention, or crafting scenarios in your mind. Take a moment to sit with the discomfort. Observe it. Ask yourself what it's teaching you. And then remind yourself gently but firmly that their attention, while nice, is not the source of your light. You are. The silence of being ignored is not a void, it's a space. And in that space you have the freedom to choose how to fill it. Will you fill it with self-doubt and longing, or will you use it to reconnect with the wellspring of worth that has always been within you? This is the gift hidden beneath the sting of rejection, the chance to realign with yourself, to strengthen the foundation of your being, so that no one else's actions can shake it. It's not easy, I know, but it's powerful, and it's yours for the taking. Because in the end, the ones who see you truly see you will never need to be convinced. And the ones who don't, let them pass. You don't need their validation to shine. You never have. You never will. When people pull away, when they distance themselves or fade into the background of your life, it often feels personal, doesn't it? It can leave you questioning what you did wrong or what's so unworthy about you that they chose to leave. But let's pause for a moment and reframe that. What if their absence isn't about you at all? What if it's about them, about where they are on their journey, and about what they are or aren't ready to face? You see, every relationship, every connection is a meeting point of two worlds. And those worlds are constantly shifting. People grow in different directions. They evolve at their own pace. Sometimes that growth aligns beautifully and you walk together for a time. But other times the paths diverge. It doesn't mean one person is better or worse, right or wrong. It simply means the rhythm of their life has changed and yours has too. When someone distances themselves, it's easy to internalize it as rejection. But have you ever considered that it might be a reflection of their own inner struggles? Perhaps they're wrestling with something they haven't yet shared. Or maybe they're stepping back because they're unsure how to show up for you in the way you deserve. Their silence, their absence, it's rarely a clear statement about you. It's often a murmur of their own unresolved stories. And here's where the real work lies. When someone steps away, resist the urge to chase after them, or to fill that empty space with explanations, assumptions, or desperate attempts to bridge the gap. Let the silence settle. Let their actions, or lack of them, speak. Because in that space you'll find clarity not necessarily about them, but about yourself. This is an opportunity to explore why their withdrawal feels so unsettling. Is it because you've tied part of your identity to their presence? Is it because you've looked to them to fill a void or to offer validation you've struggled to give yourself? These are tough questions, but they're crucial. They shine a light on the ways we sometimes outsource our sense of worth, handing it over to people who, intentionally or not, may not be able to carry it. When you stop trying to force connections or cling to people who are pulling away, you begin to create space not just around you, but within you. That space is sacred. It's where you reconnect with your own rhythm, your own path, and your own sense of what matters. It's where you learn to be whole, not because someone stays, but because you choose to be whole regardless of who comes and goes. Now, this doesn't mean you stop caring about others or dismiss the hurt of their absence. It's not about building walls or pretending you're unaffected. It's about learning to hold that hurt gently, acknowledging it without letting it define you. It's about recognizing that while connections are beautiful and meaningful, they are not the foundation of your existence. You are. And here's the paradox when you stop clinging. When you let go of the need for someone to stay, you open the door for the right people to come in. Not because you need them, but because your wholeness draws them in naturally. Relationships built on that foundation, on mutual respect and independence, are the ones that last. They're the ones that elevate you without diminishing you. So when someone distances themselves, let them. Trust that their absence is clearing the way for something else, something better, something truer. Trust that every departure carries a lesson, even if it's not immediately clear. And most importantly, trust yourself. Trust that you have the strength to stand firm, even in the face of uncertainty. because the people who truly matter will find their way to you not out of obligation, but out of a genuine alignment of souls. And the ones who don't, they're simply making room for something greater. So let them go. Let them go and turn your focus inward. That's where your real power lies, always. When someone distances themselves, it's natural to feel an ache of quiet, gnawing pain that seems to ask why it's in our nature to seek answers, to want clarity, to long for some kind of resolution. But often we never get the answers we're looking for. And maybe that's the point. Because sometimes the greatest lessons come not from what others can tell us, but from what we learn when we sit with the silence they leave behind. Think about it. In the absence of noise, what do we hear? At first it might be the chaos of our own thoughts, the narratives we spin to make sense of it all. It must have been something I said, maybe I wasn't enough. If only I had done this or that, they would have stayed, but as those thoughts settle, if we allow them to, something else begins to emerge. A deeper voice, one that doesn't speak in questions or blame. A voice that says, look within. When people step away, it's an invitation, though often a painful one, to reconnect with yourself. To ask not why they left, but what their absence reveals about you. Is there a part of you that you've neglected in trying to keep them close? Have you given so much of yourself to others that you've forgotten who you are when you're alone? These are not easy questions, but they're necessary ones. Because the answers hold the key to something far more profound than the reasons for someone's departure, they hold the key to your own healing. You see, distance from others can be a mirror. It reflects back the spaces within us that feel incomplete, the wounds we've tried to cover up with relationships or external validation. And while it's tempting to see their absence as a loss, what if it's actually a gift? What if their stepping away is the universe's way of saying, it's time to focus on you? This isn't about dismissing the connections we have with others. Those connections are vital, they enrich our lives in countless ways. But no relationship, no matter how beautiful, can replace the relationship you have with yourself. And when someone creates space, you're given the opportunity to deepen that relationship, to nurture it in ways that might not have been possible otherwise. There's a quiet strength in learning to stand alone. It doesn't mean you don't value others or that you don't feel the sting of their absence. It means you recognize that your worth isn't tied to who stays or who leaves. It's tied to the way you choose to show up for yourself, day after day, no matter what. And here's the thing, when you embrace that strength, it changes everything. It shifts the way you interact with the world, the way you hold space for others, and the way you allow them to hold space for you. It's no longer about clinging or chasing or needing someone to fill the gaps. It's about meeting others from a place of wholeness, where their presence is a choice, not a necessity. So, the next time someone distances themselves, let it be a moment of reflection. Not about them, but about you. Use it as a chance to turn inward, to explore the parts of yourself that you've been too busy or too afraid to face. And in doing so, you'll find that the pain of their absence starts to fade, replaced by a quiet sense of peace. A peace that comes from knowing that no matter who comes and goes, you are enough. Life will always bring people into and out of your world. Some will stay for a lifetime, others for a season. But the one constant in all of it is you. So honor that. Nurture that. And trust that when you do, the right people will find their way to you, not because you need them, but because you're ready to share the wholeness of who you are. Always. When all is said and done, the question isn't whether people will come or go, it's what you choose to do in the spaces they leave behind. Those moments when someone distances themselves or fades away carry a unique kind of stillness. At first it can feel like emptiness, like something has been taken from you. But what if it's not emptiness at all? What if it's space, a vast, open space filled with possibility? There's a reason the universe pulls people out of your orbit. It isn't cruel or random, it's deliberate. Sometimes that space is what you need to breathe, to grow, to see yourself without the filters of others' opinions or expectations. It's in that space where clarity often emerges, not clarity about them, but about you. Here's a truth many of us resist: not everyone is meant to walk the entire journey with you. Some people are here to teach you, to challenge you, to love you in ways that push you toward your potential. But their role is finite. And when they've fulfilled that role, they leave not because they didn't care, but because their part in your story is complete. It's hard to accept, especially when the bond felt deep and unshakable. But understanding this can transform the way you view loss. When someone steps away, it isn't a rejection of who you are. It's a redirection, a way of turning your focus back to the things that matter most, the parts of yourself that need tending to. It's as if the universe is gently guiding you, saying, look, there's something here you've been overlooking. And in that redirection, there's an opportunity for profound growth. Think about the most meaningful transformations in your life. How many of them came during moments of ease and comfort? Probably very few. Growth rarely happens when everything is smooth and predictable. It happens in the spaces where we feel uncertain, where we're forced to look inward and ask the tough questions. It happens when we stop looking for answers outside ourselves and start trusting the quiet wisdom within. So when you find yourself in one of those moments when someone you care about has distanced themselves, or when you feel ignored, lean into it. Don't rush to fill the void with distractions or chase after explanations that might never come. Sit with the discomfort. Allow yourself to feel it not as a punishment, but as an opening, a doorway to a deeper understanding of yourself. Over time, you'll come to see that these experiences aren't about loss, they're about alignment. The universe is constantly aligning you with the people, experiences, and opportunities that match your energy, your growth, and your truth. And sometimes that alignment requires letting go of what no longer fits. It's not easy, and it's not painless, but it's always purposeful. You are not defined by who stays or who goes. You are defined by how you choose to show up in the face of it all, by the grace you offer yourself, by the love you cultivate within, and by the courage you summon to keep moving forward. When you trust that the universe is working in your favor, even when it feels like it's not, you begin to see these moments of distance and separation for what they really are: opportunities to realign, to recalibrate, and to come home to yourself. The people who are meant to walk alongside you will find their way to you, not because you chase them, but because your paths naturally converge. And those who don't, they've already given you what you needed. Honor them for that. Thank them, even if it's silently, and let them go. Life has a rhythm, a flow, and when you trust in that flow, you realize there's nothing to fear in the spaces people leave behind. Because those spaces are never truly empty, they're filled with the possibility of something new, something more aligned, something that's waiting just for you. Trust the process. Trust yourself. And remember, you are never truly alone.